Welcome to The Explainer. India is going through a massive economic change, and right at the heart of it is a complete reinvention of its labor laws. Today, we're breaking down this huge overhaul and what it could mean for millions of people.
So, just imagine this for a second. To run a business in India, you used to have to navigate a maze of 29 different central labor laws. Seriously, 29 rulebooks. Some of them were so old they were written before India's independence.
And now, all of that complexity has been swept away. It's been replaced by just four simple, streamlined codes that are actually built for a modern, fast-moving economy. So you have to ask, right? Why the massive change? What was so broken about the old system that it needed to be completely rebuilt from the ground up? Okay, let's get into it. The thing is, the old system wasn't just complicated. It was becoming a real roadblock. It was this tangled patchwork of rules that often contradicted each other, and it was seriously holding the economy back. This really sums it up perfectly. The old system was just a mess. Believe it or not, basic terms like worker or wages were defined differently in different laws. All that confusion made businesses pretty nervous about hiring people formally. The whole point of the new codes is to just slice right through that confusion and make it easier to create good, formal jobs. And here's maybe the biggest problem of all. Millions and millions of people in the new economy, the folks delivering your food, the drivers for your ride-hailing apps, they were basically invisible under the old laws. The framework just wasn't built for the 21st century. So what does this new foundation actually look like? Let's meet the four new codes that are totally redefining the world of work in India. First up, we've got the Code on Wages. The idea here is pretty simple, really. It takes four separate old laws about things like minimum wage and bonuses and just combines them all into one clear, single framework. And here is the absolute game changer. For the very first time, this creates a universal right to a minimum wage. It doesn't matter if you work in a huge factory or in the informal sector, this code sets a wage floor for everybody. That's a whole new level of fairness. Okay, next up is the Industrial Relations Code. You can think of this one as the brand new rulebook for how employers and employees interact with each other. So this code does two really important things. For businesses, it gives them a bit more flexibility. For example, it raises the employee threshold for needing government sign-off on layoffs, but it's not a one-way street. It also gives contract workers more security by officially recognizing fixed-term jobs and making sure they get benefits like gratuity. The third pillar is the Code on Social Security. And honestly, this one is a truly massive piece of the whole reform. And this is just brilliant. Remember those gig and platform workers we were talking about, the ones who were invisible? Well, this code changes everything. For the first time ever, they are legally recognized. That means they can finally be brought into the Social Security system, giving them protections they've never had. And finally, we have the Occupational Safety, Health, and Working Conditions Code. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, so everyone just calls it the OSHWC code. And its job is basically massive simplification. It takes 13 different overlapping old laws and merges them all into one single modern set of safety standards that applies everywhere, from factories and mines to construction sites. Okay, so those are the four new codes. The really big question now is, what's this all going to mean? What's the real-world impact going to be on jobs, on the economy, and on everyday people? Well, a report from SBI Research took a crack at answering that very question, and wow, the numbers they're projecting are pretty staggering. Get this. The report suggests that these new, simpler laws could lead to the creation of an extra 7.7 million jobs over the medium term. And that's not total jobs, that's additional jobs. That's absolutely huge. Now, a key piece of this is something called formalization. When you have things like a universal minimum wage and every worker gets an appointment letter, you're pulling people out of the shadows of the informal, off-the-books economy. And the projected jump here is massive, from about 60% of the workforce being formal to over 75%. That means more people with stable pay and benefits. And you know what happens when more people have stable jobs and more money in their pockets? They spend it. And that creates this powerful ripple effect. We're talking about a potential 75,000 crore rupee boost in consumption, which just fuels even more growth. And this growth isn't expected to happen in just one or two places. We should see the impact across a whole range of critical sectors, from manufacturing and logistics to a more stable gig economy, all the way to IT and financial services. Now, this isn't going to be like flipping a switch overnight. Think of it more like a series of dominoes. First, it gets easier for companies to hire people properly. Then, those people have more income, so they start spending more. And finally, that new spending drives growth across all those different industries. So, all of this leaves us with one final massive question. If these predictions are even close to being right, are we about to witness one of the biggest and most important job market transformations in India's modern history? The foundation has been laid, but the true test, of course, will be in the execution.